Dear students, this is the 7th video of the chapter Federalism, and today we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is what makes India a federal country. We'll have to understand that when the concept of federalism was adopted, the most challenging task was to share the power among the different levels of government. That is central government, state government, and at last local government. Initially, local government was not granted any power, but the power was shared among central government and state government. But the question was how to share the power. And for that, our constitutional makers, they sat together, they devised a plan, and after that, they made 3 different lists. And those 3 different lists were termed as central list or union list. Second was state list, and at last it was the concurrent list. So our constitution makers, they devised 3 different lists. One was termed as central list, and it was also termed as union list, and all the important subjects of national importance was included under this list, like defense, external affairs, railway, atomic power, RBI. So all the important factors that was of national importance was included in the central list. Now thereafter, some power was also devolved to the state government, and for that one list was also prepared under the name state list. So under the state list, various subjects were included like law and order, health, etc. After that, one more list was added that was termed as concurrent list. So what was specific about concurrent list? In the concurrent list, the subjects that were mentioned, it could be supervised by both the government, that is central government and state government. It means both could exercise its jurisdiction over the subjects that were mentioned under the concurrent list. So what was there in the concurrent list? So in the concurrent list, some subjects were mentioned like education, forest, weight and measure, adoption and succession, etc. Now we all know that in state board is also there, like UP board is there, Bihar board is there, and apart from that, CBSE is also there. That is a part of the central government. So we can easily understand that concurrent list is going to contain certain subjects that is under the scanner of central government and state government. Both can make laws on those subjects. But in case of conflict or in case of dispute, of course, the central government will get advantage. It will get priority over state government. So, the power sharing of different subjects made India a federal country. Otherwise, the conflict is bound to happen. So, in order to avoid such conflict or tussle, it was decided by the constitution makers that the power to take decisions will be divided among different federal units or different levels of government. So this is how the division was done. Now, we are going to reconnect to the features of federalism. So in the previous video, we discussed the features of federalism. And in that we discussed that there are 2 sets of government in the federal system. And each set of government is having its own independent jurisdiction. It means that they are not going to interfere in the subject of other. We discussed it in the features of federalism. The same thing is here. It means if those features were applicable for the federalism, and if India is a federal country, then those features will also be applicable in India. So we can easily see here that each government, that is central, state government, is free in its own sphere to take decision on the given subjects. No other government has the right to disturb the next government. So we can easily understand the importance of federalism in Indian context. So this was the most important thing that is mentioned in your book regarding the federalism of India, or regarding the topic that what makes India a federal country. Now, after discussing this topic, we'll have to understand that it is only a theoretical part. It means the thing that we have studied, it is only the theoretical part. Then what about the practical part? If federalism is a theory, it can be applied in real form also. So in order to understand the practical form of federalism, we are going to test that whether federalism is passed or failed in India, or the features of federalism or the concept of federalism was passed or failed in India, or in other words, whether the center and state relation remained cool and calm during these periods or after the independence. So we are going to discuss it in the next topic, that is how federalism is practiced. So we are going to discuss the next topic, that is how federalism is practiced. So we will discuss it. Question is how federalism is practiced. How federalism is practiced. It means how we are going to apply the principle into reality. We are going to test. Then there should be some parameter, there should be some criteria for testing the federalism. Of course, there are two different criteria that can be taken. One is linguistic state and other is language policy. So these are the two basic criteria which we can take to test our federalism, or to test whether federalism is in practice or not. The first is the linguistic state. The first is the linguistic state. And second is the language policy of India. So we'll have to discuss both the important aspects. So here it is the linguistic state and second one is the language policy of India. So we are going to test both the facts. Now, when India got independence, very few states were there in India. Almost 14 to 15 states were there. At that time, the new states were trying to emerge from the old ones. Like you will be surprised to know that Gujarat and Maharashtra was combined. No. Later on, the demand was raised by the Gujarati people to form a new state, and this is how Gujarat came into existence. Similarly, the demand from the Marathi people came out to create a new state, and this is how Maharashtra came into existence. So we'll have to understand. How different states were carved out after independence from the old states on the basis of language. Or in other words, we can tell that how the linguistic states came into existence. Initially, when the government granted permission for the formation of new states that was based on language, the government was very fearful. The government was under the doubt that it will lead to further tension, it will lead to further conflict, and ultimately it lead to separation. But thanks to God that it could not happen. Over the years after independence, we can easily see that many states came out, many states carved out. Like from Bihar, Jharkhand came out. Recently, Chhattisgarh came out from MP. So we can easily understand that new states emerged based on language. But here we are discussing about linguistic states. So basically we are discussing about the different states that came out because the demand was there, the language was there. So we found that so far our relationship between the central government and the state government remained very good, and this is how the new states were formed without any disturbance. And so far the relationship between the central and state government is very peaceful. At the time of independence also, the central government granted permission for the states to be emerged on the basis of language. So basically this relationship between the central government and state government remained very calm and cool. Now, next is the language policy. You'll have to understand that in India, initially, it was the voice was raised to declare Hindi as the national language. But over the time, it was realized that in India, the people are from different backgrounds. They are speaking different languages. So, in order to stop any tension between the central government and state government, it was decided that Hindi would not be considered as the national language. Of course, it was the language of more than 60% population, more than 40% population, but still it was not recognized. Why? Because if it would have been recognized, it would have sent the wrong message to the other language people. No. So Hindi is acceptable only in Hindi states like UP, Bihar. So far as other states are concerned, they are free to use their own local language like Tamil, Telugu, Odia. So they are free. And this is why 22 languages have been recognized by the Indian Constitution. So the state government can go with any language or any local language. It can declare any language as the official language. But so far as national language is concerned, Hindi was not declared as the national language. So again, the conflict that was there between the central government and state government, it could not be immersed. Why? Because central government admitted, they welcomed the different languages. They made the language policy of India in such a way that it accepted all the different languages together, and no language was given superiority or was given preference over other languages. So this is how the relationship between the central government and state government regarding the language policy, it remained very good. So again, our test of federalism, here it is going to pass. Why? Because the center and state relations remain, the relationship between the central government and state government remained very cool and calm. Thank you.